Now we shall be going with the next point, that is income and other criteria. In the other point we have looked into, income is the main one. Whenever you talk about your development, income is the main one. But still we said it is the respect, dignity given to, these all we have taken into consideration. Here we shall be going in little more in-depth points, that is like infant mortality rate, literacy rate, net attendance ratio. And these I will be explaining you in detail. What exactly are this? Are we supposed to take this into consideration when we are talking about any of the development of a state, development of a country? Now, what exactly is infant mortality rate? Infant mortality rate is the children taking birth in a country and who dies off before celebrating their first birthday. Out of 1,000, if 1,000 children take birth in this country or a state, and how many children die off before celebrating their first birthday within a year, and how many are able to sustain and how many are able to carry on their life. This is infant mortality rate. And how come this number can be? If the number is higher, the condition is worse. If out of 1,000 there are 100, 200 infant mortality rate number, the condition is worst. And if it is 10, 20, 30, it is better. Means that particular state or country is giving you better medical facilities, so the infant is able to sustain, is able to live, and is able to grow, and is able to cross his 1 year age. This is infant mortality rate. Literacy rate, this we understand. What is the literacy rate? In percentage we calculate this one, and it is out of 100. What is the literacy rate? The amount of the population in our state, how many are literate? Means above the age of 7 and above, the people should be literate, they should be going to school, they should know how to read and write, they should know how to make an analysis, understand what the policies are. So that is literacy rate. That also should be taken into. For example, if at all we have lots of money, but we don't have proper medical facilities, we don't have proper educational facilities, is it a good state or a country? It's only money we have. We work hard, we go into businesses and all, and the country is not providing with proper education and health facilities. So is that country or state a better one, a good one to stay? The third one goes with, it is related to your literary rate only, net attendance ratio. What is this net attendance? Attendance, the person attending the school. And here we go with the calculation, the age 6 to 10. The children who are enrolled in the schools should be going to the school. In our country what happens? The children are enrolled as soon as they take birth, it is 5 years, 6 years children, they enroll themselves into a school, get registered in the school. But later on slowly we see the dropouts. 1 year they go, 2 years they go, they are not able to go, or it is parents are not showing that much of interest in sending their children to the schools because they have other works to do. Sometimes they take away their small children along with them because they cannot leave them in the houses or cannot leave them in the schools, or sometimes even they take away their children along with them to work. It goes off into child labor. So this net attendance ratio comes down. This comes down. So this both are related, the literacy rate and the net attendance ratio. So this becomes your per capita income is coming into this one. Per capita income is there, that is the final one. It is the amount we are having, the amount we are generating in the country, the income we are generating divided by the total number of population. This is important. Along with this one, we have this one also to be calculated. When this is calculated properly, when the numbers are properly given, or your country is showing the proper numbers, then your country will be considered to be a developed country. Like for example, you can take on page number 10, you have two of the tables given here, and 3 states examples are given, and look into the Kerala state. Particularly look into, we are having the comparison there, but the Kerala state, you look into that one. Kerala state is showing infant mortality rate to be 11. Out of 1,000, only 11 children are dying off. Means that state is providing better medical facilities. Literary rate, it is showing 91. Out of 100, 91 people are literate. That is the literacy rate of that state. Net attendance ratio also, out of 100, 91 are present in the school. Whoever got enrolled, only due to some unavoidable reasons, they get drop out, but they are going to the school and the attendance ratio is high. It is 91, the maximum. So the report given, and this is known as your HDI, Human Development Index. When we go with the whole of the calculations, when we go with the statistics, when we collect the numbers, this is the index we are collecting. So this index is Human Development Index. So in India, when you calculate these 3 points and see, Kerala is in the first position of HDI. It is giving, that report is telling you that Kerala is in the first one and Bihar is in the last one. It's not giving that very nice. Like it is, we have 60 in infant mortality rate in Bihar. Out of 1,000, 60 children die off before 1 year because proper medical facilities are not provided there. You see the literacy rate also to be 47. It is only 47% of people are literate when compared to Kerala, 91% are literate. Hardly 9% is illiterate, but here more than half percent is illiterate. Next you come to net attendance ratio. It is 41% not going to school. 41% going to school. More than, almost like it is 60% people have no attendance. They are enrolled, but they are not showing the attendance in the school. They are not attending the school. Whereas Kerala, 91% is attending the school. Out of 100, whatever the registrations have taken place. This is how we make a calculation of income and other criteria. We have to take into consideration, always development doesn't mean that it is only the money is the one and we have acquired the money and we are developed. Any state or any country is just providing you the money and the country is developed. It is because we have money. If we have money, because of that one we have all the facilities, all the comforts. But you don't have the medical facility, you don't have the education facility. So this should be taken into consideration when we are talking about the overall development of the country. Obviously it is an interlink. Like if you have money, you can provide all this. If you have these all things, automatically you can earn money. So which comes first is a little confusion one. But overall in economics we talk about, it is we should have money and we should have all these criteria also, so that we can say that particular state or country is a developed one. Okay, this next point goes on with public facilities. Again here we have written it is education and health. Now here when you talk about public facilities, these are the facilities which are to be provided by the government. And we shall be taking those facilities, and when we have money in our hand, that we shall be paying and taking those facilities. Particularly these two facilities are to be provided by the government. Now, if at all I have, when we say it is development, I have lots of money. The first consideration is when we have money, we are developed. I have lots of money, but all the money I have in my pocket, is it able to buy all the things outside? Like for example, it is non-pollution, your pollution-free environment. Can I buy that one? Can I buy that one? No. And if at all I can look into, it is if I have money, can I get myself rid out from the infectious diseases? It's not possible. The money is not helping you out into getting all the things, whatever the public facilities we are talking about. This is first point. Next, when you are coming to, it is BMI. It is just an example given in your textbook, but we are supposed to look into what exactly this BMI is. When you see this one, the BMI is body mass index. The body mass index is very important. It also becomes a criteria or an indicator for a developed state or a country. This body mass index is calculated by the health departments to see that whether the public in the society, in the state or country are healthy. Either if it is the people are undernourished or they are overweight, they are not acceptable. It is leading towards your diseases, some or the other diseases, means the food whatever you are taking is not adequate or not properly giving you the nourishment to the body. So here, the BMI calculation, we are just going with the BMI calculation. How this question goes on with how a BMI is calculated, what is the procedure and the steps for that one. You can see here the weight in kgs and the height in meters. Height square. Weight, whatever the weight you are, divided by the height in meters square. So when you divide that one, if you get a number which is less than 18.5, you are considered to be undernourished. The nourishment is not proper. Whenever you have a meal, you have different kind of things put into your plate. Your mother serves with different kind of your materials inside. So she sees into it as a balanced diet. Everything should be provided. The vitamins should be there, the carbohydrates, the fats, everything should be proportionately designed, and a plate is served to you. If every day I keep on using only one type of, I eat dal rice, only carbohydrates are going inside and proteins are going, other materials or other minerals and others are not going inside, definitely it is making me undernourished. The malfunctioning of my body goes on. It will give you consequence like it is, you are getting undernourished, you are getting into obese, you are getting fatter and fatter. So you should be like, when we make a calculation of this one, then it should be like 18.5 and less. 18.5 is the appropriate point, but if you are below that one, you are considered to be the undernourished. If the country goes with this calculation, we come to a conclusion that my state or country is having undernourished people. So I should be giving little more importance towards the health, so that the health of the people is growing. Why should we grow the health of the people? Because they are the capital of the country. If they are undernourished, they are not well, they are diseased, they don't work. So they become a burden to the country. They become a liability to the country. We are supposed to feed, but the people are not giving back anything. They are not producing back anything for the country. They become liability to the country. So we should take care our country is in a healthy way. All the people are healthy in our country. If the same number, this calculation gives you number 25, more than 25 if your number comes, then you're overweight. And slowly the overweight becomes like it is making you again not fit for the work. You grow fatter and fatter and you're not fit and you're unhealthy again there. So the number should be something between this one and this one, so that the country is fit. That is the calculation made by the country. Then HDI. As I told you in this one, this is what the report goes on with. Human Development Index. This is HDI. We give an index. This is Kerala. This is what it is having, and this is the index. We have nearly about 189 countries, democratic countries. Out of this 189 countries, when we go with these calculations and we say it is this country, this country, this country and this country, in those calculations, we are at the level of 130. Our number, India's number come at 130. We are not doing that well. We are not able to provide good. Out of 189 countries, we are 130 level. So which country is at the first level? Norway. The HDI is perfect. It's doing too very well. The education is so well. The literacy part is well. The attendance part is so well. This condition is in Kerala. As Norway is showing the best conditions, the best conditions are shown in Kerala, in our country. So Kerala becomes the first state showing the best in HDI. And Norway is the first one. India is showing 130 number. Almost we can say we are on the 130 rank in HDI. And these HDIs are calculated when we give the reports to, and it is the UN department, it is UNDP. This department takes this and it gives you a number saying that India is 130. UNDP is United Nations Development Program. It gives you saying that these are the countries which are doing better and the best part, and these are the countries which are at the lower level, so that we get a number saying that we have to improve ourselves. This report, whatever is given by UNDP, that is known as Human Development Report, HDR. HDI is your index. You have given your calculations, and the whole of the indexes the UNDP takes, and it gives a report. Final analysis is given and a final report is given. That is your HDR, Human Development Report, given by UNDP. The next point goes on with sustainability of development. What is this word sustainability? Development is okay, it is something you're doing and you're going with the development there. What is this sustainability? Sustainability is continuously the work should be done and overuse of any of the resources should not be done. And when you're overusing something, it gets exhausted and it is not remaining for the next coming generation. And you have in your world on the earth, you have such kind of resources, the natural resources you have, which is always, at times we say we divide the resources into renewable and non-renewable. When you say renewable, they are getting replenished by time to time and you have a time period for that one. And you cannot overuse it. For example, if I go with the sowing of a seed, what is the time period I can get a fruit out of it? It has to grow, it has to sprout out, it has to grow, it has to then come to a level, it will take minimum of 4 to 5 years to come out with a fruit. If I give lots of water, is it going to immediately sprout out and give you a fruit? A natural process is always to be followed, that is the earth, it follows the natural process. The same way, for example, we shall be taking the groundwater in India. When we say the groundwater, how is the groundwater replenished? How is the groundwater getting filled up? Obviously, this is by the rains. When the rains, you have the rains, they get into the grounds and the groundwater or the ground levels are filled up. So that way it is getting replenished. You keep on using the water and that water again by the rainwater, it is filling up the groundwaters. So this is what the process goes on. So here, when now according to the population whatever we have and the resources we are using the water, extra use of water or the usage of water is so very high that the people started using more water and the groundwater started coming out. We started extracting the groundwater to the higher levels. But we don't have that much of rain which can substitute and which can fill up the grounds. So we are having a clash between, so our grounds are getting dried up. Within a little time, the groundwater is being extracted and it is getting dried up. And for the rest of the year, because once in a year we have the rainy season, for the rest of the year we don't have rains. And we don't have the groundwater filling up or getting replenished. For example, we might have looked into many of the stories, our grandparents telling us the story, that if they just dig some of the feet on the superficial layers, they used to get water. But now it is going off, we are digging into lots of nearly about 100 or below that feet and we are not able to find water. Means the water resource is getting over. And we have an example also. Because there is loss of water or we don't have the surface water or the groundwater there, so some cities have been locked up. Or some cities have been the people have been removed from there, the Cape Town. The scientists are giving us the example of Bangalore also. It is within 5 years, maybe that city they are supposed to lock the city because there is no proper water resource. The groundwater is totally vanished and completely we have lost the groundwaters. So we should be very careful while we are using the resources. That is what is meant by your sustainability. How nicely you are using. Don't go into, as Gandhiji told you, we have ample amount of resources here, but we are not supposed to use it. We have the resources for need, not for greed. But we are using the resources for greed. We want to make more and more money, so we are using the resources and we are making money, but the resource is not getting replenished, so we are wasting the resource. And we are in such a kind of crucial situation, we are not able to give anything for the next generation. We are in a big question mark. What is the next generation going to get the way we are using here? This is the first example. The second example is exhaustion of natural resources. We have many of the natural resources, for example, like it is crude oil, and from the soil or from the land we try to extract it. And here we have a table given regarding your crude oil. So in the whole of the world, it says we nearly have 137 million tons reserve of crude oil. And the percentage or the speed we are trying to extract it is almost like within 43 years we are going to completely exhaust it and we don't have other source. So we are thinking of, we should be going with the next alternative source like it is solar or hydro. We are trying to, but the technology is not still supporting us. but still we are 100%, or we can say 80%, we are still dependent on the crude oil for the locomotives, communication, and for the petrols and all whatever the products we are using like. So we are using in such a high rate that can you imagine that within 50 years, coming 50 years, 43 years, you will be not having any crude oil or the petroleum products on your earth. And then what are you going to do? How are your cars moving? How are your machines moving? How is the development going on? So there should be an alternative, and this research is of course going on, but still we don't have any answer. At present we don't have an answer, but at whatever the speed we are using the resources, definitely we are going to lose them, and the replenishing point or the replenishing time is not given to get replenished, and we are going to lose all the resources. And here the sustainability says that use it how much is required. Don't go in using as if you are in greed of it and want to earn money. Don't use in that way. So finally, this lesson comes to an end with this one. Clear?